Today I'm going to show you how to make these delicious mini taco cups, a perfect appetizer to serve during the upcoming Super Bowl. These are the ingredients you'll need, so let's get started. I'm going to start off by making some taco meat here. I've got 1 pound of ground turkey here. You could also use ground beef. I just prefer using turkey. And I'm going to brown that over medium-high heat until it is fully cooked. And then I'm going to drain that and return it to heat and add in my taco seasoning. Now I'm using homemade taco seasoning here. I will put a link in the description box as well as at the end of the video that shows how I make that. You could also use store-bought packet of seasoning mix. That would be perfectly fine. I'm also going to add in a half a cup of water because that's what my recipe calls for. And I'm going to cook that over medium-high heat for about 5 minutes or until the water is absorbed. If you're using a store-bought seasoning mix, go ahead and follow the package instructions. And once that's finished cooking, I'm going to turn off the heat and set that off to the side and let it cool down just a bit. Now before I start assembling my taco cups, I'm going to go ahead and get some vegetables prepared here. I'm going to start off with some iceberg lettuce. I'm going to shred this finely using a very sharp knife. And you could use pre-shredded lettuce for this. That's perfectly fine instead of buying a whole head of lettuce. And once I get some of that sliced fine, I'm going to chop that into about 1/2-inch pieces. Because my mini cups are so small, I don't want any large chunks of lettuce in there. Next, I'm going to dice up a Roma tomato. You could use any tomato that you like. You could also use canned tomatoes, or you could just forego the tomato altogether and just use salsa. I'm going to slice the top of it off, and using my finger, I'm just going to kind of shove it inside the tomato and get all the seeds and liquid out. And I'm going to slice this into about 1/4-inch slices or so, because I want the pieces to be rather small. And then I'm going to take my slices and slice those, and then finally chop it into about 1/4-inch pieces. And then finally I'm going to take some black olives and I'm going to slice those into about 4 pieces or so. And then I'm going to take each slice and cut that in half. And I'm going to be using these for a garnish. Now for the shells of my mini taco cups, I'm going to be using these Tostitos Scoops. These are the perfect size for mini taco bites. They're not too big, they're not too small, and they're already in a cup shape so they hold all the toppings well. And I'm just going to arrange these out into a plate. All the broken ones and cracked ones can get set off to the side, and you can have those yourself with dip, or do as I do and give them to my dog Bruno. Next I took some canned refried beans and I put some into a bowl and put that in the microwave for about a minute or so just to warm it up. And then using the back of a spoon, I mashed that and made sure that it was a nice smooth puree. And I put it into a zip top baggie fitted with a number 12 pastry tip, which is a rather large pastry tip. And I'm just going to pipe out a little dollop of beans in each cup. And you could also just use a spoon for this, that's perfectly fine. Next I'm going to put about a teaspoon of taco meat into each of the little cups right on top of the beans. I find a teaspoon is just the right amount. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's just the right amount of meat in each cup. And now we can get kind of messy and carefree with our toppings. If you're doing a whole load of these, you can put the taco cups out onto a cookie sheet, and you can get quite a few of these done in a relatively short amount of time. But I'm just going to take my lettuce here and top all of my mini taco cups, make sure that each little cup gets just the right amount of lettuce in there. Next I'm going to take some shredded cheese. I just happen to be using Kojak here. You could use whatever kind of shredded cheese is your favorite. And I'm just going to sprinkle that right on top. Again, making sure that each little cup gets a little bit of cheese on it. Next, I'm going to top these with a little bit of sour cream. I put some sour cream into a zip top bag that was fitted with a star pastry tip. And I'm just going to pipe out a little rosette of sour cream on the top of each little cup. And I kind of got ahead of myself here. If you were smarter than I was, you would wait to do this last. But what are you going to do? Now I'm going to take my diced up tomatoes and sprinkle these around each dollop of sour cream. Again, like I said, if you were smarter than I, you would have put the tomatoes on first. They're already on there, so we'll work around it. I'm just going to go through and make sure that each little taco cup has a few pieces of tomatoes on it. And like I said before, if you don't want to use diced up tomatoes, you can just use salsa or picante sauce for this. Now finally I'm going to take my olive pieces and I'm going to put 1 piece on the top of each little dollop of sour cream. Now if you have a lot of guests over, chances are somebody's not going to like olives, so the reason I like using these olive pieces as a garnish is they're easily picked off. But if you don't want to mess with that, you can just use chopped olives right out of a can and top it with that, and then put the sour cream on last. That's perfectly fine. As for serving, you can serve these right off the plate or cookie sheet as they are. I like to get a little fancy, so I'm going to put these out onto an oblong platter. Just kind of separate them out, make them look a little bit nicer. You don't have to do this at all if you don't want to. And if you do decide to serve them up fancy, now's your chance to go ahead and do any last touch-ups. Make sure that each little taco cup has just the right amount of ingredients on it. And there you go. How to make mini taco cups. Hope you guys enjoy, and thanks so much for watching.